Hello everybody, welcome back. Today is video number 4 for our Accordion Hinge junk journal. I'm making mine into an art journal. Last week we decorated this art layout. Isn't that pretty? If you want to check out that video, there's a link to the playlist down in the description box. So this week I thought we would decorate the inside cover and go ahead and make that nice and pretty. So in today's video, we're going to be using embossing folders, and I will list these down in the description box so that you know which ones I'm using. We're also going to be using the Tim Holtz Distress crayons again this week, and we're going to be embossing toilet paper rolls. So grab your toilet paper rolls and your embossing folders. The first thing I want to do is go ahead and glue my hinge in, because we'll be done with the front cover after this week. So I'm just going to use some fabri-tac glue and glue the little fold over right in place and just clip that and let it dry. While our cover is drying, I'm going to bring over my Sizzix Big Shot. I have some water in a little Dollar Tree squirt bottle. I have my toilet paper rolls. We're just going to cut those just like this. One cut, we're going to open that up. And to soften up the cardboard from our toilet paper roll, I'm just going to spray it both front and back with a couple of squirts of water. It's not completely soaking wet, but it's soft enough to loosen up the fibers of that paper. Then I'm going to sandwich it between my embossing folder, just like this. Line it up right in there, and then I'm going to put it between the plates, and we're going to run it through the Sizzix Big Shot. Now, I usually like to run my embossing folders through twice, so I'll go through once, and then I'll come back the other way just to make sure it really imprints. You could probably just do it once. But let's take a look at this. Isn't that awesome? I think that is so cool. It really imprints that embossing folder really nice. So now I'm going to speed up the process. I'm going to do several toilet paper rolls, all with different embossing folders. Squirting each one with water and then running it through twice. I think transforming these toilet paper rolls into something really pretty is a really cool way to use your Sizzix Big Shot. I have also experimented in the past with doing this with several layers of toilet paper, which gives you beautiful results. But after 2020 and going through a couple of spouts of not being able to find toilet paper, we're just going to stick with these toilet paper rolls. I'm going to set these over and just let them dry. Once they're dry, I'm going to bring in my Tim Holtz Distress crayons again this week. I'm trying to get used to using them, and I do love the pigment, how it shows up the true color, even on this brown toilet paper roll. I think that the pigments are awesome. I'm just trying to get used to using them and seeing how they blend, seeing what works the best, different methods for blending, like using a baby wipe or my finger. But when you rub it over top of the embossed paper, it picks up the ink, or is that ink or pigment color? And you're able to spread it around for a little bit until it dries. And the raised image really picks up the color. So for each one, I'm just going to use a bunch of different colors. I'm going for like a Moroccan, bohemian kind of tile look when this all comes together. So using a bunch of different colors that kind of go together is really what I'm going for. I imagine you could use stamp pads and paint, all kinds of rub and buffs, and really get creative with different ways to color these embossed papers like this. Once I'm done, I'm going to let them dry. I've decided I don't really like this one. And this is going to be the centerpiece of my page. So I'm just going to add some more colors in here and try to make it a little bit more pretty. Now that they're dry, I'm going to go ahead and square up all of the edges with my paper trimmer. And once they're squared up, I'm going to start cutting them into strips. So most of my strips, let's see, I cut them at like 1.25 inches, but some of them are going to be cut after that as well. So I'm just using my paper trimmer to cut little sections of each one of these toilet paper rolls. The awesome thing is that I'm going to have little leftover bits of these colored embossed papers. So I'll just put them in my stash and use them later. Now that we have all of our strips, I'm going to go ahead and ink up all of the edges. I want the edges of each one of my little tiles to be dark and black. It'll kind of separate the tiles on the page. My stamp pad just wasn't giving me the look that I wanted, so I'm just going to use this dark fabric marker. It's working pretty well. I'm going to glue the big centerpiece right down onto my cover. And then I'm going to start cutting each one of these little sections and making little tiles that are going to go all the way around my centerpiece. After making quilts, a project like this where you don't have to exactly measure anything and you can just go with the flow is really refreshing. But if you look at my page, it kind of looks like a quilt, right? For each one of my little tile pieces, I'm just going around the edge with my black marker. And I'm using fabri-tac glue to glue down these tiles to my page. I will go in with the black marker and color the background of the page so that if there's any space surrounding my tile, the white doesn't pop through. The fabri-tac glue works really well. It grabs quick and it dries fast. It's a great permanent bond for all kinds of different mediums. Working my way around that center tile, just adding each one of the pieces. I think this page is going to be gorgeous. I haven't decided if I'm going to come back and maybe add a saying or some words to this page, or just really let the tiles and the whole thing just speak for itself. Sometimes I think that less is more sometimes. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe one day I'll just come in and add something else to this page. But for now, we're just going to leave it like this because I think this is gorgeous. Now we're going to let this sit up and dry. And while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and go to the front. And we have the little flap Remember the little flap that we created when we made our hinge in video number 1? This is going to actually get glued to the front of our cover, and it's going to start tightening up our journal. I don't want that little flap to be white, so I'm going to come in with my marker and just color that black. I have a piece of tissue paper underneath so I don't get any marker on the cover. And then I'm going to use my fabri-tac glue and just fold that in half and glue it right down to my cover. I folded it in half so it takes up less space on my journal cover. We're going to glue that in place, and then I thought I would add a couple dots of silver, but not yet. Got ahead of myself. Coming back in to my journal page that we just created, I'm going to make sure that there's no white gaps in between my tiles. So just going through that one more time. And now we'll go back to the front and add the silver little dots on the hinge. This is just some metallic silver speedball paint. I'm using the tip of a paintbrush just to make little dots on that hinge. Then I thought I would tie it in and just add a couple of little dots, silver dots, to the butterfly. So there we go. We're going to let this sit and dry. I'm going to tell you, this is so pretty. I love it so much. I hope that you've had fun watching along today and that it has inspired you to try something new. Until I see you next week, I hope you have fun creating. Bye, everybody.